Well, hello there, YouTube world, all you investors. Hopefully you're doing outstanding. I'm going to talk on a topic today that will get probably very few views because if I made a video like the majority of folks on YouTube, I'd be full of doom and gloom. Look at the headlines everywhere. The world's crashing, recession coming, most miserable city in the USA. Russia invades Ukraine, the world's crashing, and the climate change, and homicides, suicides, conflict, violence, everything like that. You make a video like that, make a pretty thumbnail, rant on how bad things are, and you might get 1 million views. However, the world's a good place. I am Mazske Finance. I'm coming to you from South Florida on Sunday, September the 18th, year 2022. Alrighty, I have made videos previously with Millennial Mike. I made videos by myself. Mike and I have talked about is a recession coming. I've talked in the past, there's some video I have in the past where I talked about perhaps a recession is not coming. Okay, back in the springtime, I attended a conference that Troy Eckerd hosted up on Amelia Island in Florida. And on one of the days there, we had activities. We had activities every night too. But then one of the days we had presentations all day long. And one of the presenters was a gentleman named Mark P. Mills. All right. Just in, I think it was yesterday's mail or Amazon or UPS, whoever brought it to my house, I got a book. And I was like, I haven't ordered a book. Did I? I don't think so. I get so many different things I can't keep it all straight sometimes. But here's the book. It's The Cloud Revolution by Mark P. Mills. Okay? So it was sent to me by Eckerd Land and Acquisition, Troy Eckerd. All right? And I haven't read this book yet. But the topic of this book is something I believe similarly, I haven't talked on this book before. But I've talked on a topic similar to this, that the technological forces out there, the things that are in play, could make the future a lot better than what the majority of folks are projecting. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to do something I don't like to do on this channel. I'm going to read just a little bit. Okay? Just a little bit. All right? So what I'm going to do, I'm trying not to just read straight off this, but yet I might. All right. So starting here, let me get my eyes right. The conventional wisdom on how technology will change the future is wrong, argues Mark Mills, who lays out a radically different and optimistic vision for what's really coming. The mainstream forecast falls into three camps. Here you go. Listen to this. One considers today as the new normal. I think that's the title of one of my videos, The New Normal. Where ordering a ride or food on a smartphone or trading in bitcoins is as good as it's going to get. Another foresees a dystopian era of widespread digitally driven job and business destruction. A third believes that the only technological revolution that matters will be found with renewable energy and electric cars. All right? What do you think so far? But according to Mills, a convergence of technologies will instead drive an economic boom over the coming decade, one that historians will characterize as the roaring 2020's. It will come not from any one single big invention, but from the confluence of radical advances in three primary technology domains: microprocessors, materials, and machines. Microprocessors, materials, and machines. Microprocessors are increasingly embedded in everything. Materials from which everything is built are emerging with novel, almost magical capabilities. And machines, which make and move all manner of stuff, are undergoing a complementary transformation. Accelerating and enabling all of this is the cloud, history's biggest infrastructure, which itself based on the building blocks of next generation microprocessors and artificial intelligence. We've seen this pattern before. The technological revolution that drove the great economic expansion of the 20th century can be traced to a similar confluence, one that was first visible in the 1920s. A new information infrastructure, telephones, new machines, cars and power plants, and new materials, plastics and pharmaceuticals. Single inventions don't drive great long booms, cycle booms. It always takes convergent revolutions in technology, three core spheres: information, materials, and machines, over history. That's only happened a few times. One last paragraph. We have wrung much of the magic out of the technology that fueled the last long boom. But the great convergence now underway will ignite the 2020s. And this time, unlike any previous epoch, we have the cloud amplifying everything. The next long boom starts now. All right, so if you're still with me, what do you think? Are you intrigued? Do you want to read this book? I plan to read it. Once I read it, I'll report back to you. I got other books I'm reading. I'm still reading that human book. And I'm traveling here very soon. And I got some friends visiting as well. So my reading time may get cut down. But I will read this. All right. One other thing I'm going to read to you, just a paragraph here and a half. All right. And this is in the preface of the book, okay? I'm not going to read the whole book to you, and I'll be done this real quick. All right, it says the original Roaring Twenties didn't begin, check this out, the original Roaring Twenties didn't begin until after what was then a pretty miserable 1920. Think about 1920. You weren't alive back in 1920, were you? All right. The 1918 Spanish flu pandemic lasted well into 1920, wherein the scourgeous Americans' death toll was 400% greater in per capita terms than that of COVID-19. In 1920, the scars from World War I were still fresh after 100,000 American soldiers had died, a far greater toll than the conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq, the longest ever American wars. And one of the most severe U.S. recessions of the many of the 20th century began in 1920 and lasted through July of 1921. Political crisis and drama were afoot in 1920 as well. The Bolshevik Revolution and the rise of Vladimir Lenin had happened just 3 years earlier. That fueled America's first Red Scare with fears of, check it out, far-left extremism and the communism infecting the American labor movement. The New York State Assembly expelled 5 duly elected legislators because they were members of the Socialist Party. Newspaper features headlines reading, "This is America, not Russia." The nation saw massive labor strikes, sound familiar? Bringing cities to a standstill, and with mayors deploying thousands of police and federal troops. I'm not talking about 2020. That was 1920. 1920. Michael Zuber is famous for studying the time period from like the 1960s through 70s, 80s, up to the present day, something like that. He talks a lot about modern times, bring it back to the 1970s. I think in some previous video, way back when, I'm not going to search through them. I got a lot of videos on this channel. I made a video talking about technological changes coming. It wasn't these 3 categories, what I talked about, but it was connected in a way, okay? I'm not saying Michael Zuber is wrong. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying Mark Mills is right. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, though, that all of us need to ignore the doom and gloom headlines. We need to be realists, but be an optimist. Believe in the good of mankind, even though you know if you walk down that street at midnight or after dark, you might get shot, stabbed, mugged, raped, or something. Okay? Be an optimist, but be a realist. I've always been that way, especially as I got older, got into police work, etc., etc., etc. Okay? I always believe that the good will overcome the bad. All right? So with that being said, if the 2020s mirror in some fashion the 1920s, be part of the folks who roar, not the folks who lag. Okay? If you're an investor, ride the wave. Because what came after the 1920s? The 1930s. I'm not saying the 2030s are going to be like the 1930s, but you never know. A recession is coming. We will probably have a depression perhaps one day, but maybe not. But the economy goes through cycles. Recessions are appearing farther and farther apart. All right. Along the way, there's lots of turmoil. There's lots of turmoil. But if you look back on things, society is getting better. But even though sometimes when you look at the headlines, society is getting worse. All right. I encourage you, without me even reading this book, I encourage you to get it. If you don't want to read it, get it on Audible. I assume it's on Audible. If it's not, it probably will be. So this copy happens to be autographed too. So I got that. So anyway, what do you think? Do you agree with me or you disagree? What do you think? So I'm going to leave it at that, I think. I got other topics I want to talk on, but I don't want to make this video too long. So y'all have a great day. If you're a working person, the weekend's coming to an end. It's a Sunday. It's football Sunday for those of you that like football. I haven't subscribed yet to NFL Plus. I may because I like the Ravens, but I'm still watching baseball games, so I may wait till October and subscribe. We shall see. Y'all take care. Stay safe in all you do. And Mazske is signing out.